Hey Suzuki enthusiasts, ever found yourself scratching your head, wondering why your trusty steed isn't quite purring the way it should? Are you grappling with inconsistent starting, mysterious engine noises, or perhaps a suspension that feels more like a pogo stick than a precision instrument? If so, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Suzuki motorcycles, uncovering common problems, offering straightforward solutions, and arming you with some killer pro tips that could save you time, money, and a whole lot of frustration. Stick around till the end for some surprising insights you won't want to miss. Let's kick things off with a classic, starting issues. We've all been there. You hit the starter and nothing, or maybe a weak, hesitant cough. What gives? Often, the culprit is simpler than you think. First, check your battery terminals. Are they clean and tight? A loose or corroded connection can dramatically reduce current flow. Second, inspect your spark plugs. Fouled or worn out plugs won't ignite properly. It's a cheap and easy fix that can make a world of difference. And here's a pro tip. If your Suzuki is carbureted, consider a carburetor clean and synchronization every few seasons. Gunked up carbs are notorious for causing hard starting and poor idling. Moving on to engine performance. Is your Suzuki feeling sluggish? Lacking that characteristic Suzuki punch? This could stem from a few areas. A dirty air filter is a prime suspect. Think of your engine as a giant set of lungs. If the air filter is clogged, it can't breathe properly, leading to reduced power and increased fuel consumption. Replacing it is usually a 5-minute job. Another common issue can be a partially blocked fuel filter. Over time, sediment can build up, restricting fuel flow to the engine. A quick replacement can often restore lost power. Now, let's talk about those less than pleasant noises. Unusual engine noises. A ticking, clunking, or whining sound can be unsettling. A ticking noise, especially from the top end, might indicate valve clearance issues. This is a job that often requires specific tools and a service manual, but addressing it promptly can prevent more serious damage. A clunking from the front end when braking could be worn steering head bearings. This isn't just annoying, it can be a significant safety concern. Have them inspected and replaced if necessary. And speaking of safety, a whining sound that changes with engine RPM could point to a failing stator or regulator/rectifier. These components are crucial for your bike's charging system. Ignoring them can leave you stranded with a dead battery. It's free for you, but it makes a difference for me. Subscribe to the channel.
Let's kick things off with a classic, starting issues. We've all been there. You hit the starter and nothing, or maybe a weak, hesitant cough. What gives? Often, the culprit is simpler than you think. Second, inspect your spark plugs. Fouled or worn out plugs won't ignite properly. It's a cheap and easy fix that can make a world of difference. Moving on to engine performance. Is your Suzuki feeling sluggish? Lacking that characteristic Suzuki punch? This could stem from a few areas. Another common issue can be a partially blocked fuel filter. Over time, sediment can build up, restricting fuel flow to the engine. A quick replacement can often restore lost power. A ticking noise, especially from the top end, might indicate valve clearance issues. This is a job that often requires specific tools and a service manual, but addressing it promptly can prevent more serious damage. And speaking of safety, a whining sound that changes with engine RPM could point to a failing stator or regulator/rectifier. These components are crucial for your bike's charging system. Ignoring them can leave you stranded with a dead battery.
Welcome back to the final chapter of our Suzuki Mastery series. We've already conquered the engine, the fueling, the charging system, and the chassis. But a Suzuki isn't just a collection of parts. It's a symphony of movement. Today, we're focusing on the final drive, the transition of power from the gearbox to the asphalt, and the sophisticated sensor network that acts as the brain of your motorcycle. Before we dive into the technicalities of gearboxes and sensors, let's start with a chica for the veterans, the Suzuki neutral safety switch. If your gear indicator is jumping or the bike refuses to start even in neutral, don't rush to buy a new sensor. Often, the internal contact pins are simply covered in old, hardened engine oil. A quick soak in contact cleaner can save you a $100 part. Now let's talk about the heart of the drive, the gearbox and chain dynamics. Error number 1 in this category, false neutrals and notchy shifting. Suzuki gearboxes are generally bulletproof, but they are very sensitive to oil quality and chain tension. If you find your bike popping out of second gear under load, the problem might not be internal. A chain that is too loose creates harmonic lash that vibrates through the shift drum. The solution? Beyond the standard tension adjustment, look at your shift star and the shift linkage. Many riders overlook the pivot point of the gear lever itself. Dirt and road grime can create friction, making the shift feel heavy. Disassemble the lever, grease the pivot bolt, and ensure your shift rod is at a perfect 90-degree angle to the linkage. This simple geometry fix can make your gearbox feel like a high-end racing unit. Also, remember, Suzukis love high-quality synthetic oil. If your shifting feels crunchy after 2,000 miles, it's often a sign that your oil has sheared down and lost its viscosity. Now, let's move into the digital brain, the sensors. Modern Suzukis are packed with electronics, from the IAT sensor to the O2 sensor in the exhaust. A common error often misdiagnosed as a bad engine is a vacuum leak or a faulty map sensor. If your idle is hunting or the bike feels jerky at low speeds, check the small vacuum hoses connected to the throttle bodies. The solution? Over time, these rubber hoses crack due to engine heat. A tiny crack, invisible to the eye, allows unmetered air into the system, confusing the ECU. Replacing these hoses with high-quality silicone ones is a pro tip that ensures your engine always gets the correct air-fuel mixture. And here is another chica, the kickstand switch. This little sensor is exposed to all the grime of the road. If your bike cuts out unexpectedly when you hit a bump, the spring on the kickstand might be weak or the switch itself is dirty. Clean it regularly with WD-40 Specialist Contact Cleaner to ensure the circuit stays closed when you're pushing the limits. Let's talk about longevity and aesthetics. Suzukis are built to last, but their finishes, especially on the frame and swing arm, need specific care to prevent engine oxidation and corrosion. A common error is using aggressive degreasers that strip the protective coating off the aluminum. The solution? Use pH-neutral cleaners and always apply a corrosion inhibitor like ACF 50, especially around the engine bolts and the radiator stays. This is crucial if you live near the coast or ride in winter. And for those of you with older Suzukis, check your wheel bearings every time you change tires. Suzuki wheels are light and strong, but the seals can let moisture in during high-pressure washing. If you feel a slight vibration through the handlebars at high speeds that isn't related to tire balance, your bearings are likely starting to pit. Replacing them with high-quality 2RS bearings will keep your ride smooth for decades. We've covered a lot of ground in this series, from the fuel pump filters in Part 1 to the regulator rectifier upgrades in Part 2, and now the precision of the transmission and sensors in Part 3. Owning a Suzuki is a badge of honor. These machines have won championships on tracks and crossed continents on dirt. By addressing these common errors with the solutions we've discussed, you aren't just fixing a machine, you are optimizing a masterpiece. You now have the knowledge to diagnose fueling, fix the charging system, and sharpen the handling. Go out there, get your hands dirty, and make your Suzuki the best version of itself. This concludes our deep dive series. Stay tuned for more technical guides, and as always, keep the rubber side down and the throttle open. See you in the next video. Per te gratis, per mi fa la differenza. Iscriviti al canale.